Get started. Hello, it is Sunday, February 8th, 2015, and welcome to the Team Butterfly Effect life coaching call for the New Year, New You group. I want to give an extra shout out for those people who are taking the time to call in or view this live. Thank you so much. I know it's not always the most convenient time at the end of the weekend. However, one of the mantras that my coach has shared with me many times is success is not convenient. And it's oh so true. And just to share a little story how success isn't convenient, I was at a baby shower this weekend, and I sometimes forget of the healthy-minded community that I've built, that we've built, that I surround myself with and have for the past several years, until I go to events where there's other people there who aren't necessarily in my direct circle anymore. I was at a baby shower this weekend, and there wasn't one vegetable. We were all together for brunch. There wasn't one vegetable, and really there wasn't any what I would consider really healthy food there. I mean, there were like egg muffins wrapped in bacon, and that was the healthiest. That was the smartest choice that I had there. And generally speaking, I'm generally not a big bacon person. Sometimes, try not to do things high in phosphates, and that definitely is in there. So, the point of sharing that story with you is, it wasn't convenient for me that day to be out in a social setting and be around so much food that wasn't ideal. And so what do? I do two things. I make the smartest choices that I can, and I also live by the 80-20 rule, which we're all doing in this group, which is if we eat healthy 80% of the time, it's okay 20% of the time to not be perfect, because we have been so mindful the rest of our week. So today, what we're going to talk about is actually reading nutrition labels, because I think that's something that I don't think that, well, speaking from my own experience, I was never taught to read a nutrition label until I was an adult. I never took a nutrition class really until, well, I never took a nutrition class. Maybe they gave us one in junior high in home economics, maybe, but didn't know. So I want to teach you guys, because that was one of my biggest pitfalls at the beginning of my journey. Was, I was counting fat grams, and then I was counting calories, and then I was counting fiber grams, and I was just always counting, and I really didn't know what I was looking for or what I was counting. So tonight's call, I'm calling "Not All Calories Are Created Equal," and we're going to talk about that tonight. So I have just gone and grabbed a couple of random things out of my pantry for me to kind of go through and just share with you what I'm looking for when I look at nutrition labels. This call might not last a full 30 minutes tonight. It's going to be a little bit harder, saying that that it may be hard to show you what exactly I'm reading and what exactly I'm looking for, but it might be easier if you take a second to go grab something out of your pantry that has a nutrition label on it. So I'm going to actually take a pause for about 30 seconds, because we are doing this live, and I know there is at least one person on here live, so I'm going to give Eileen just a second to go grab something out of her pantry, or maybe her refrigerator, that has a nutrition label on it, while I take a drink of water. Okay, so I'm going to start with something that is in most moms' pantry. And if you're not a parent on here, I apologize. I'm being a little, I don't know, not stereotypical, whatever, but goldfish, right? What not too many moms don't have goldfish. I went through a big phase where I just did Annie's because these really aren't very good for you. This is probably one of the least healthy things in my house right now. But let me share with you, as I'm looking here at the nutrition label. Start at the top and read down, or you can start by just reading the ingredients. So as you can tell up here, all of the nutrition is broken down right here as far as carbohydrates and fat grams and sodium and protein and all of that. And then over to the side is the percentage value. And based on, now let's talk about that real quick, percentage value. So this is a labeling the FDA has created to label food. So when you look at it, you can say, okay, well, it says if I eat this and one serving of it is 8% of the total fat I'm supposed to be having in a day, or 20%, 7% of carbohydrates. So the FDA has created that the average American diet is 2,000 calories. That's what the average American should be taking in. That's what the FDA says. Whether or not I agree with that is a different point. However, so as you're reading that right there, that's the reason why they're there. But let me just share with you. If you're in this group, I don't want you paying attention to that. The reason why the majority of people are sedentary. We work at computers all day long, and unless you have a job where you are physically intense all day long, you probably don't need 2,000 calories to sustain yourself. The majority of people don't need 2,000 calories to sustain themselves. So the FDA is actually putting the bar higher than what we technically need. I mean, because I know for me personally speaking, when I am at my feeling really great about myself, I'm usually taking in right around 1,700 calories a day. And I'm a pretty active person, and I'm almost 5'10". And so if I were to be taking 2,000 calories in every day, I would have to be working out really hard to burn that, or yeah, I don't need 2,000 calories a day every day on a regular basis. So really those percentages are whack. Also, whenever you're looking at this too, you need to look at portion size, because most people don't actually do that. The portion size is listed up at the top. So with goldfish, it's 55 pieces. That's a good amount. That's a good amount of goldfish. But like, for example, we'll look at these in a little bit. This is a staple at my house. They're multi-grain chips. These are really actually a really, really great choice, a really healthy choice. But if you look back at the back here, the serving size is 10 chips. So this is definitely not something that you would want to go and mindlessly eat, right? Because you can eat multiple servings without even realizing it, sitting down to just kind of munch. So first we have calories, and on here, the calories are 140 calories. As we scan down, total fat, it says 5 grams. Now this is very important, guys. It has 5 grams of fat. And I don't know if you know this, but the good kind of fat is the polysaturated fat, the monosaturated fat. Saturated fat is okay, but what you really don't want is the trans fat, right? So right here it says that the total fat is 5 grams. These are still talking about the goldfish. The total fat is 5 grams. Saturated fat is 1 gram. Trans fat, 0. Polysaturated fat, 1 gram. Monosaturated fat, 2.5. So let's just do some math here. Okay, so monosaturated 2.5 plus poly, so that's 3.5. And then saturated is 1, so that's 4.5. Well, 4.5 isn't 5. And it says that the total fat grams are 5, but what it has listed here doesn't add up to 5. So guess what that means? It means that there are hidden trans fats in this food. Okay, it has on there labeled 0 because this is how the FDA allows the food company to not be that truthful. As you're reading down into the ingredients, which we'll get to in a little bit, okay, when we're reading down into the ingredients, if one particular ingredient on the label doesn't equal 0.5%, it doesn't have to be listed at all up here in the top. So for example, when we get down into the ingredients, just because I know the words that I'm looking for and the abbreviations that I'm looking for whenever I'm reading labels, I know what trans fats are. So as I look down through, so sapphire, soybean oil is actually a trans fat. Believe it or not, soybean oil is not the best oil for you, and either is sunflower oil not the best oil for you. It's actually a trans fat as well. And so there are some trans fats down here in the bottom. So my guess is either the sunflower oil is like 0.2 and 0.2%, and maybe the soybean oil is 0.3%, which equals that extra 0.5% that's missing. But the point of it is just because it says 0 here doesn't necessarily mean 0. If it says trans fat 0, that probably means that there really is some down here, because if there weren't any trans fats at all down here, they wouldn't even bother listing it up here, and I'll show you that in some of our other stuff we'll look at. So let's just talk real quick what each thing does in your body as we read down. So fat is not a bad thing. Fat, it used to be the high craze of low fat. We need fat in our bodies. Fat is where our hormones are actually regulated. Too much fat, it throws off your hormones. Too little fat, it throws off your hormones. Back when I shared with you my story a couple weeks ago about whenever I got way too skinny, and it affected my periods to where I wasn't having periods anymore. That was actually one of the reasons why I really started my wellness journey, as Jacob and I wanted to have a family, and because I was so I was overtraining, and I was still not being healthy with my body. I wasn't having periods because my body fat percentage was too low. I think they measured me at 4% body fat. So, obviously I wasn't ovulating because I wasn't getting the right amount of body. Wasn't consuming the right amount of fat, which was in turn, my body wasn't able to hold fat, and so therefore I wasn't having my periods. Now, it can go on the other end of things, have you noticed some men who have breasts? It's because their body fat levels are so high that they're not producing the proper amounts of testosterone. It's throwing it off. They're producing more estrogen than they are testosterone, and so they're starting to carry fat in places where stereotypically and over evolution where women have traditionally carried fat. So fat is very important, but it's not that fat is bad. Okay, healthy fats like monosaturated fat, polysaturated fat, those are the good kinds of fats that make your fingernails healthy, your hair healthy, your skin shiny. It keeps everything lubricated inside your body. Fat's definitely important. So what happened when the craze low fat was huge, and you saw everything was marked low fat, low fat, low fat? When they realized fat is actually where a lot of the flavor is. And so when they kept taking the fat out, what did they have to do? They had to bump up the sugar. So I'm a big fan of just, if you're buying something that has a label on it that has the option to buy low fat, I generally don't. I generally don't buy the low fat option because that usually means added sugar. So this is just as we read down, we'll get to sugar again in a moment. So that's cholesterol is actually what clogs our arteries, right? Um, cholesterol is not a good thing. Well, we have the LDL, right? There's the good cholesterol and there's the bad cholesterol. But generally speaking, if it's in processed foods, it's probably not the good type. It's not going to be the good type of cholesterol. You're going to see the good fat, the good what causes our bodies to work well and have the lower LDL. I'm sorry, LDL is the lethal form of cholesterol in our body, and HDL is the good kind. And so foods like avocados and so on are going to help with that. But anyway, we're still getting to the nutritional label. Sodium. We all know what sodium is. Sodium is salt, and in goldfish it has 250 milligrams of sodium, which is 10% per the FDA, which is pretty high. But what does sodium do in our bodies whenever we ingest it? It makes us swell. It makes us actually retain water. So we all know that we're supposed to avoid sodium. Sodium can also cause issues with our heart and so on if we get all of those levels too high. So let's keep moving on now, going down into carbohydrates. So again, carbohydrates are not bad. Carbohydrates are what give us energy to get through our workouts in our day. However, carbohydrates is the biggest misconception with carbohydrates is that they only come from grains. But did you know you also get carbohydrates in fruits and vegetables? Those are the best forms of carbohydrates, also beans and legumes and so on. It's necessary for us to maintain our energy to be putting carbohydrates in our bodies. However, one thing that's important to me personally, if something has carbohydrates, that it also has fiber. So back when I was going through my evolution of counting things, probably the fiber was one of the healthiest at the very end of my transition, because technically I think they say you're supposed to have at least 30 grams of fiber a day, and most people only get like 10 or something like that. So look at the amounts of fiber in the goldfish. There's 2. Now, the next thing under carbohydrates, which you see, are going to be sugars. In goldfish, there's 0. But let me just share with you, as far as we were talking about the whole low fat thing, right? And usually the sugar goes up when the fat goes low. Why is it important to keep sugar levels low? Well, it affects our blood sugar, it affects our insulin levels, and so on. But if from a wellness point of view, whenever we put sugar in our body, it actually slows down our body's physical response to be able to fight infection and free radicals. So, I mean, sugar, it is natural. It's something that came from this earth, yes, but it's actually, it's a drug. It's a stimulant. It tastes really sweet, and it's proven in the lab to be more addictive than cocaine. So, I mean, I was just watching something. I think it was, I can't remember what documentary it was. It'll come to me in a little bit, but it literally took lab rats and gave them, they were lab rats that they had addicted to cocaine, and they put in a thing of water. It was like cocaine water, right? And then they gave them an option to do not cocaine, sugar water. And after a week, like 90% of the rats had switched from cocaine to sugar. So it's very, very chemically addictive, and studies show that the more of it you put in your body, the higher risk you have for cancer and infectious diseases. ADD, uh, all sorts of issues, diabetes. I mean, you can take almost any health-related issue, and somehow it can probably be linked to sugar. Um, don't quote me on that. I'm definitely not a doctor, but from a lot of the research and studies that I do, I mean, a coach on my team who has beat cancer through the use of nutrition alone, I mean, she will preach to me, sugar feeds cancer. So we definitely want to keep that down. Then protein. What's protein important for? Protein's important. It's a building block of our muscles. It's important to maintain a certain level of protein. There's great debate over this, what amount is the right amount of protein. And I'm not going to tell you exactly the right amount of protein for your body. I think with many of us are doing the 21-day fixed meal plan. And to be honest with you, my best suggestion is, and always is, listen to your body. If the amount that you're putting in, you're following the plan that we're doing, and it's making you feel good, then you're probably having the right amount. However, like when I was doing the ultimate reset, and it was low protein to help detox the body, I mean, I know that that wasn't a good amount for me because I felt really tired. I didn't have enough to just sustain my body. Okay, so then as we get down even lower, you see where it has the vitamins and minerals listed and their daily percentage value. And then as you read down even lower, you see the ingredients. And what's important is to see, I mean, can you pronounce all of the words in the ingredients list? Can you pronounce them? Do you know what they are? Are they real food, or are they something that was made up in a lab? Do you know? I mean, so let's just see here. With goldfish, it's first of all made with smiles, and right, goldfish are made with smiles. Whole wheat flour, we know what that is. Unbleached, enriched wheat flour. Okay, I guess we kind of know what that is, and it has in parentheses what that is. Cheddar cheese, yeah, sure, we know what that is. Vegetable oils, and that's where it has in parentheses the different types of oils that are in it. Now, here we go. Contains 2% or less of salt, autolyzed yeast leavening, baking soda, monocalcium phosphate, paprika, spices, contains celery and dehydrated onions. Okay, so this isn't absolutely horrible because I mean, it's not good because I could pronounce the most of the words on here, but this is like the worst thing in my house, right? I mean, I want you to, no, it's not. I lied. I found the worst thing in my house for you guys. My husband got too much of it when he went to the store for the Super Bowl look. Velveeta cheese. This right now is the most unhealthy thing in my house. And whoo, I love this. Okay, I'm going to read you what the ingredients are. Milk, whey, milk protein concentrate, whey protein concentrate, water, sodium phosphate, contains less than 2% of maltodextrin. I have no idea, I'm not for sure what that is. Milk, fat, salt, dried corn syrup, which corn syrup, if you didn't know, is something you need to avoid in everything. It's, I believe, one of the causes for all of our health problems is corn syrup. Calcium phosphate, lactic acid, sorbic acid as a preservative, sodium alginate, sodium citrate, lactose, buttermilk solids, enzymes, cheese culture, vitamin A, palamite, apocarotinol, and then it has in parentheses color, and annonito, parentheses, color. Okay, so there were a lot of things in here I couldn't even pronounce. So this is something, if you can't pronounce all the ingredients in it, you really, 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 really need to avoid it. Okay, what you're looking for when you're looking for food. I know we're in our last like 5 minutes, so I'm going to do this quick. What you're looking for. So we're going back to this, these really healthy, good, food should taste good, multigrain chips. that my husband eats every day while he's hanging out at home. They're literally 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, there's probably 10 ingredients on here, but I can pronounce them. Stone ground corn, sunflower oil, canola oil, brown rice flour, flax seeds, cane sugar, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, quinoa, sea salt, rosemary extract, right? I mean, so it's all stuff that we can read. And then when we get to Shakeology, hello. Okay, so guys, this is why Shakeology is so important. This is what we're going to end with. As I was sharing with you before, that those percentage values on the side that the FDA is basing what they think people should be having every day. Okay, so the majority of people are doing reduced caloric diets, right? So they say that the average person takes in 2,000 calories, and this food item contains carbohydrates that are 10% of what you should be getting, and that has, let's see here, and you're getting in, as far as your vitamin C, 12%, right? So here's the thing, they have those percentage based on your vitamins and minerals as well too. Well, if you're doing reduced caloric diets and you're not getting in 2,000 calories a day, it is physically impossible for you to get all the vitamins and minerals that you need in a day. It's physically, did you hear that? It is physically impossible for you to be on a reduced caloric diet and to get all the vitamins and minerals your body needs in a day to sustain itself. Physically impossible. That's why products like Shakeology are so important. Whenever you're able to get your dense daily in values in such an intense punch, it's so important. Because, like, say for example, when I look on here, my vitamin A is 100%. Like, all I have to do is drink my Shakeology and I get 100% of vitamin A. And the majority of the things on here are 100% of what we need. And also, when you read the ingredients in Shakeology, it's all food. There's nothing, we have whey protein, pea protein, chia, quinoa, cocoa, maca, pea fiber. Now, you may not be able to pronounce or know what all the words are on here, but trust me, these are all real foods. They're just like superfoods that they had to get from Chile, right? That you maybe have never had astragalus or acai or camu camu or ashwagandha, right? But those are all real foods. So when you're reading your nutrition label, the main thing I want you to pay attention to is calories. Do your fat calories add up on there? Monosaturated, polysaturated? I mean, if you read Shakeologies as saturated fat 1, monosaturated 0.5, polysaturated 0.5, total fat 2, it all adds up. They're not hiding anything in it. Also look for lower sugars, higher proteins, and ingredients. First and foremost, ingredients that are real food. Ingredients that are real food. So the point of all of that today, guys, is right here is 160 calories in Shakeology, and right here is 140 calories in a serving of goldfish. Only off 20 calories per serving, but as far as nutritional quality and value, right here in my goldfish, I get 0% of my vitamin A in my day, and in Shakeology I get 100% of my vitamin A that I need in a day. So not all calories are counted equal. I hope and I pray that after listening to this call and being as a part of this group, I have sold you on why counting calories is not the way to go. Okay? I want you to be more mindful about your portion control and the quality of the food you put in your body. Have a great night, you guys. I hope you found value in this. And Next week, we're actually going to be having one of you be the guest client for the day, and we're going to be starting to tackle your individual roadblocks, each and every one of your individual roadblocks, allowing us to all get vulnerable with each other, but to actually do the real work that we need. Because I'm sharing with you what I think is valuable, but it may not be where you are in the journey, and maybe you need more help um, with positive affirmations or tools to just keep your mind straight, or maybe you need more help with, your nutrition. So I'm wanting to serve you guys to the best of your ability. So if somebody wants to be the volunteer next week that we tackle your stuff, awesome. If not, I'm going to have to pick somebody. So you guys have a great night and have a wonderful week. Hope you have your food prepped for the week, and go to bed so you can be ready to get your quiet time, your journaling, and your push in. This is our last week of push, guys. This is our last week of push. You can do it. I believe in you. We should only have 5 days left. Let's get it done.